Okay. Ready? All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Darren Green, President of Blacks in Law Enforcement of America, the Long Island chapter, and representative from National Corrections Association. And today, we stand here with local law enforcement officials from across the state. Standing behind me to my right is Charles Billis from the Grand Council of Guardians. Directly behind me is Damon Jones, the New York State representative for Blacks in Law Enforcement. We have Westchester Corrections Association. We have Nassau County Sheriff Guardians, Nassau County Guardians Association. We also have members of the clergy, and we also have the family here. Today signifies a day that we must hold Garden City Police Department accountable for their actions. We are demanding that the commissioner, that the chief, that they give us the names of those individual officers who committed this heinous crime. This should not take this long. We should not be in a predicament where we have to stand out here in the rain and do a press conference because the police department refuses to cooperate with us. We will no longer tolerate things of this nature. So we're here today in solidarity, making sure that we get justice for Ron. The next person coming to the mic will be Damon Jones.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Damon Jones. I'm the New York representative of Blacks in Law Enforcement of America. And I'm a correctional officer for Westchester County for 27 years. And I also understand that there are institutionalized racism within law enforcement, not just New York State, but throughout the country. Governor David Paterson did a police-on-police shooting report. And one of the main findings of the report was that racial bias, conscious or unconscious, plays a role in a police officer in using deadly force or physical force. So what we see here today is when Brother Lanier was trying to identify himself as being part of the institution, they did not believe him. Why did they not believe him? Because he was a black man. And for too many incidents in New York State, we have seen police officers abused, shot at, and killed by their white counterparts. Now let's make this perfectly clear. We are all here in the profession of law enforcement. You're looking at over 300 years of law enforcement standing behind you. And as black law enforcement, we are 4 degrees separation from the police brutality victims that we see about on social media. Either we know them, we know somebody that knows them, they're a family member, and in many cases, just like what happened to Officer Lanier, we are the victims. But we like to call out these officers here. See, as good law enforcement, we have to call out the bad ones. Yes, sir. We have to call them out when they do wrong. And we have to call out the police department that cover up bad apples. See, everybody say, don't paint police officers with a broad brush. But we have to. When management and the institution cover up bad cops. They have yet to release the names of these bad apples right here. They have yet to announce an investigation of these bad apples right here. So we are telling the community, if you see them, call the police on the police.
There you go.
Call the police on them.
Amen, amen.
Do not allow them in your community. Do not allow them to continue to abuse black people. See, enough is enough. Right. And this is not just a message to Garden City Police Department. This is a message to any police department in the state of New York that allows police officers to abuse one of their own.
Yes, yes.
We will be standing in front of your police department, wherever police department in the state of New York, doing the same thing that we're doing here, calling these police officers out, putting a picture as bold as we can put it, that enough is enough. And we're not having our community or our brother law enforcement to be abused again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next up coming to the mic is Corey Pegues from Law Enforcement Alliance.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Corey Pegues, C-O-R-E-Y Pegues. I'm a retired executive deputy inspector from the NYPD, and I'm also the author of the book, Once a Cop. Now, it's pretty sad that we're here today. You know, we've been to countless press conferences over the years about this thing. You know, for me, what's more important to me is what's happening like in South Carolina. Here we have Walter Scott clearly shot 8 times in the back on video. The police can't change the narrative, but this man is set free by a jury because one of the jurors that don't look like him don't want to put them in jail. Now, so we're facing, this is what we're facing. Either we're going to be a society that live by rules, regulations, and laws. And I'll be the first to say, after being a cop for 21 years, and over 20 years, over 28 years, 25 years, 28 years, 20, we got hundreds of years of experience here. We don't hate the police, but we despise bad police tactics and bad police policies. And it is now time for us to come together, us, meaning everybody, black, white, Asian, Chinese, Puerto Rican, to come together and say, how do we want American policing to look like? Because the only reason he's not shot and dead is because he didn't reach for his waistband.
That's right.
So these are facts here. And he would have got shot, killed, and they would have changed the narrative. I mean, I don't know what else black America got to do before the police start respecting us. No longer, and I'm calling out all black law enforcement in America, cops, sheriffs, correction officers. If you're part of law enforcement and you keeping your mouth shut about the things that's happening, then you're part of the problem.
That's right.
You are definitely part of the problem. So I'm calling for all black law enforcement and black, I'm talking Asian, I'm talking Puerto Rican, because policing, it started with slave patrols. It is what it is.
That's right.
It's a male white dominated field around the country. Unless you're in like Chocolate City, Atlanta, maybe Alabama. They got a couple of towns that's mostly black police. For the most part, male white run police departments. And if you're part of it, you need to start speaking up.
That's right.
Now, if it's all about you got a house, 2 cars, and white picket fence, I get it, you made it, that's what it is.
That's right.
Well, don't come around us saying that you're part of us, because you're not part of us, you're part of the problem. I'm calling out all black law enforcement in America to start speaking out. Speak out for something or be part of the problem. And that's what needs to happen here. And Ron, we here for you.
That's right.
We're going to be here for you.
That's
and
right.
we'll be out here if it's 10 degrees or if it's 90 degrees. Because no longer we're going to have a press conference, say, no justice, no peace, we hate the police, and we disappear. We're here now. We're not going anywhere.
That's right.
We're here to stay. And we're going to support him and Fred until we get some justice. And I don't forget the no justice, no peace. We want good police in our community. We don't care if the cops are black, white, or green, or purple. We just want the cops to come to our community and treat them just like they treat this lovely city right here, Garden City. You should see how they treat the residents. $1 million homes over here. You go 3 miles down, they got $200,000 homes. They got projects 4 or 5 blocks down. Different policing. And we know a little bit of crime over there, but everybody black is not a criminal. Scott, he's retired. And I'm pretty sure, I wasn't there. So, and I'm gonna keep it quiet, but I wasn't there. But let me just figure out how this went. They approached Ron, a 20-year in good standing, retired officer, and they don't know. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they thought he was the suspect. And they came and accosted him. I know what came out of his mouth. Yo, hey, I'm on the job. Leave me alone. Hold on, what's going on? It's not me. But they don't give us that opportunity.
That's right.
When they see white guy and he says, I'm on the job, oh, show me your ID. Black man, I'm on the job, you ain't on nobody's job. Wait till we finish, we'll sort this out later. No longer we doing that, because you know what, this gonna be the soundbite that y'all gonna put on the news. And I don't care, this is the soundbite. Eventually, to all these white cops out there, you know what's gonna happen? One of these law enforcement officers that's off duty, you're gonna approach him, and guess who's gonna be laying on the ground? It's gonna be you. That's the soundbite to put out in America. Y'all gonna keep treating us like we're pieces of dog mess. Eventually, somebody's gonna lay you down.
Yep. That's right. All right. Yep. That's right.
All right, next coming up is Ricky Maxwell, Vice President of Westchester Corrections Association.
Good morning. I'm Ricky Maxwell, Vice President of Westchester Correctional Association. This is Brooke Jones, my president. Fortunately, I'm speaking for both of us due to her throat. Number one, let me say the Lanier family, you have our support wholeheartedly. Today, tomorrow, next year, whenever, to get the situation taken care of. The words, "I'm on the job," is universal. It's not New York. It's not New Jersey. It's throughout the country. Once you hear the words, "I'm on the job," yes, you do continue to cuff the person, but you look into the situation. Mr. Lanier was not given the benefit of the doubt because he was a black man who used those terms, "I'm on a job." "I'm on a job" is a universal term for white, black, Asian officers. Very simple. Yes, is there institutional racism in this country? There is. If who says it's not, you got something coming to you. Please stop the nonsense. Stop it. Westchester Correctional Association will be here to make sure this gentleman is taken care of and supported wholeheartedly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next coming up is Charles Billups, Chairperson of the Grand Council of Guardians.
Afternoon. My name is Charles Billups. I'm the chairman of the Grand Council of Guardians. That's Billups, B-I-L-L-U-P-S. The most disturbing thing I think about today is I understand the issue that went on with Mr. Lanier, but the question to go out is how many other people have been stopped and detained and treated the same way? That should be the questions we should be talking about. The question is how many, how long, and how often is this done in this particular area? Because the thing about it now is that it affects, I mean, not just whites or blacks. It affects everyone that's filtered in this area. I mean, if a person walking down the street and somewhere along the line, the cop claim that you fit the description of someone and they stop and detain you for no reason and just holding you for long periods of time, it's not right. It's actually unlawful imprisonment. So the question we should be asking is how many other people are sitting in jail now because they were stopped and detained and the cops decide to lock them up to show justice that they had a good arrest. It's sad because it makes me think about the issue that goes on in the city with the idea of dealing with quotas and the idea of dealing with a certain amount of arrests and the idea of picking out certain amount of people, in particular people of color. So those should be the questions we should be talking about today, about how many others are now sitting in the county jail that are waiting to go to court to be heard because they are really innocent because some cop decide to detain them and lock them up. I mean, those are the things we should be thinking about because this incident with Mr. Lanier shows that it is a systemic problem that goes out among all law enforcement. I mean, the saddest thing about it is it should be more than just black cops or black law enforcement talking about or trying to expose this. White ones should be doing the same thing. If they're working with individuals, if they are working with individuals who are doing the wrong thing, and it taints the police department from what we stand in front of, it's a shame. They should be the first ones to point it out and say, no, it's wrong. And those are the individuals that need to be pointed out and need to be fired. Cut dry, I mean, straight to the point. Those are the things we should be thinking about. And also, if this continues, we will be back again, I guess, to talk about the same old thing. And often, just as much, I think it's truly a need to, after this case with Lanier, maybe we should be thinking about suing the police department ourselves for disparate treatment among blacks and African Americans here in this city. Thank you.
All right.
Next up, we'll have Archbishop Russell Davenport, who's also retired from corrections. I'll bring him forward now.
Good morning. As already stated, my name is Archbishop Russell Davenport. I am an ex-Savannah Police Department police officer out of Savannah, Georgia, and I'm a retired New York State certified police instructor with the Nassau County Sheriff's Department. I served for over 27 years in law enforcement, along with my good friend, Officer Darren Green. Now, what I'm about to say is to prove a point. We have trained the Nassau County Sheriff's Department. I have trained, along with Officer Green, the Nassau County Police Department, Emergency Services, Bay Constables, Nassau County Fire Marshals. I have trained with the FBI, we have trained with Homeland Security, and I could tell you more. We have gone to schools with the same officers that are employed here at the Garden City Police Department. We have earned the same certifications. We have studied the same courses, and we all had to go through the same rigorous training with some minor separations in the amount of law that was taught depending on the person's job specs. In other words, these officers here are no better than us. Just because we're black does not negate our ability to perform our jobs.
That's right. That's right.
Officer Lanier has went through an extensive training, not in an all-black class.
That's right.
He went through a class that was filled with Latinos, white officers, black. It was a multicultural class. They all had to train together, they had to study, they had to take the same tests. He has done everything that he's had to do. He's had a successful career. He's retired. At the very least, he's due the absolute, complete, full respect of a law enforcement officer. We can make it deeper. He responded to 911.
Right. That's right.
He gave of his own time and his own service to serve this community, in which case his law enforcement community has turned their back on him. Those that don't look like him, I should say.
Yeah, that's right.
This is absolutely unacceptable. As I've heard it already spoken, what has taken so long to identify these officers that you see right here?
That's right.
What has taken so long to give us their names? Oh, I understand. This is not police versus civilians. This is law enforcement, apparently, versus law enforcement, which should never be.
That's right.
And so now it's just about doing the right thing.
That's right. That's right.
This man was treated in a substandard manner. He did not deserve it. And from the moment he identified himself, at the very least, they should have put things on pause. Can I take it a little bit further? When they found out who the actual perps were, don't you think he deserved the decency of an apology?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
He was treated less than a dog. He did not deserve that. And this is systemic throughout this country. And it's already been said, enough is enough.
That's right.
We are not going to tolerate it any further. You are not better than us. I want to say this, and this is going to sound kind of funny. Had Officer Lanier been in that store, and these same officers in this picture were arresting another perp, and I'm going to say a perp that was black. If the perp was giving them a hard time,
Talk about it.
and they were not able to deal with it,
Talk about it. Talk about
Officer
it.
Lanier would have stopped what he was doing.
That's right. That's right.
And he would have assisted those white officers.
That's right. Yes, that's right. That's right. Because that's what you do. That's right.
That comes with the ability and the earned right of saying, I'm on the job.
There you go. That's right.
So from this day forward, not only is the community, I also represent the clergy. You are going to see our churches galvanized to stand behind Officer Lanier. You see the law enforcement community here. I don't even want to say black. You just have a whole host of trained professionals here
That's right. That's right. That's right.
that are standing with Officer Lanier. And we're going to stand by him until this thing is done, until it is over, until these officers are brought to justice, until these officers are fired, and then until these officers are prosecuted.
That's right.
God bless you.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we got Timmy Simmons from the Bronze Shield from Suffolk County Corrections.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm from Suffolk County, Bronze Shields, Vice President, and I just like to say I haven't met Officer Lanier here, but the story compelled me to come out here because as in law enforcement, we all wear different patches. My patch is different from anyone else, but we all united here for one cause, to support this outrage that would happen. You know, when I heard it, I couldn't believe it. And then I saw it and I read it, and I just can't fathom that we all here support one another just because our patch is different, because we don't look totally like everyone else. What's the difference? We're all here on one team, and our team is right here. This team, I'm a part of this team right now, and I will go the distance for you, sir. You have my full support. That's a promise, and this is the start of it. And watch, I promise you, this is not the end. Thank you.
That's right.
I just recognize Mr. James Hodge. He's a community activist. Would you come up for us and just give a couple words for us?
Enough. How many times do you have to hear, when is it going to stop? And now this is not just anyone. This is someone that is a law enforcement officer. So I'm here with this body here to do whatever I can to speak truth to power, to go to wherever we have to go to get justice for this fine officer. And when you hear all of his accolades, you've just been hearing some, but what is so amazing about this young man is that he also served this country. Right. He served this country. He's done so much. So, you know, when you look and you try to pick up the layers to find something, you're not going to find nothing on this young man. You picked the wrong one to mess with.
That's right. That's right.
And so we're going to continue to gather. We're going to continue to speak out. We'll go to your house if we have to make sure people know who you are. Right. It doesn't take that much time to identify who it is. You may know them yourself. Again, it's wrong. It doesn't matter what color you are. Again, you should be out here to fight against the injustice that took place. You know, again, I am here to support this brother because, again, injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. And so Martin Luther King also said, life begins to end the day we become silent about things that really matter. And this really matters to me because as I sit back and see on social media and see in the news what took place, it grieves my heart to know that, you know, we say this is still going on. Yes, people have bled and died for change, and people have marched, and people have went through all they went through so this would not happen. And in 2016, it's still happening. So in 2016, we will still march, we will still gather, we will still protest, we will still do whatever we have to do. If it was raining today, I would be out here in the rain. If it was sleet and snow, people have went through all of that so we can have our freedom. Right. So again, the weather won't change our push for justice. So again, I'm here to support, and each and every one of you, you'll be hearing the next one. Continue to support justice, and again, God bless, stay blessed, peace and love.
Next up is Mr. Ronald Lanier.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Ronald Lanier, and who I am. 4.5 years in the military. Worked at Ground Zero 6 days after the towers fell, after 3,000 people lost their lives. I gave 22 and a half years in the Department of Corrections. I retired with dignity. My record is clean at the department. You can go check. You're gonna come up empty. I'm speaking on behalf of the people that could not speak. That's not even here now, like Eric Gardner.
That's right.
Sandra Bland, Tamir Rice, Walter Scott, TJ, and the list goes on. Ronald Madison, Kendra James, LaTanya Haggard, Margaret LaVon Mitchell, Gregory Gunn, Sammy DeBose, Brandon Glenn, Frederick Gay, Natasha McKinney, Walter Scott, Kristen Taylor, Michael Brown Jr., Ezell Ford, LaQuinn McDonald, Yvette Smith, Jamas Clark, Sharon Francis, Romero Mamari Graham, Melvin Logan Jr. This has to stop. I didn't ask for this. This came to me. I took pride carrying that badge in my pocket. You know why? Because I earned that. And somebody took it from me.
Right.
When I said I was on the job and you told me, fuck you, you ain't on no job. And it just took a minute, just to pause. And when I told you where my ID was at, in the parking lot of my car, all you had to do was get on your radio. My keys was right in my pocket. It only took a minute to go get it. But you took the assumption that I was that suspect that you were looking for. And when that sergeant got that radio transmitted, came across that radio and said, the suspect is on the roof. It's not him. No apology whatsoever. Even the sergeant, once I showed my IDs to him, he walked away. I was startled that he didn't take his pencil and pad out to get my information, get my retirement status, get my badge number, get where I lived at, get what apartment I lived at, what county I came from. No, he walked away with nothing. I had to go to the doctor and I had to go to Winthrop and drive my own self to the hospital. They didn't ask anything if I was hurt, anything. I said, hold up, before I walk out of that parking lot, I said, Sarge, where do I go to get my report of the assault that took place, or the report that I should take up? He told me to, after you finish, report to the Garden City Precinct. I walk in there, I see the sergeant and the watch commander. They said, oh, I'm glad you came because we had you down as John Doe. How could that be? When the sergeant next to you, I gave him all my information. Right. I turned to the left, he disappeared. I asked the lieutenant, sir, where's that lieutenant? He's off duty now. Is that justice? Or that's respect? You answer those questions, because I already got my answer. Thank you.
I'm going to close by merely saying this. As it was stated yesterday, a couple of days ago, we should not have to watch our backs because we're black.
That's right.
And I'm going to say it again. We should not have to watch our backs because we're black.
Right.
We need to start looking at the psychological makeup of police officers. When I clone it, when I say when they go crazy. Because in that moment, police officers must have went crazy. And that's something that needs to be looked at, it needs to be dealt with. We need to start looking at what happens to a police officer after he or she has been on the job for 2 or 3 years, has been given a license to kill, been given a gun, been given a badge. You take a psychological exam prior to getting the job, but after you're on the job, nobody checks what your mental status is. That needs to be checked.
Right.
And I can almost guarantee you that if we start doing more mental evaluations of officers after they've been on the job, that 80% of these departments would have to fire their officers and rehire.
That's right. That's right.
So we need to make sure that we hold these people accountable. At this point in time, I'll take any questions from anybody.
Now, what do you think the delay is in naming the officers, coming out, and letting you know that they're investigating?
I just think it's part of the good old boys club.
Afraid of
lawsuits. And afraid of lawsuits.
Getting that story straight.
So at this point in time, for them to take this long, it's unacceptable. You know, and that's exactly how they operate within the good old boys club, because they want to try to bend the truth. They want to try to get their story right. But that's not what's going to happen, because we already know what the story is.
What is going to be satisfactory for you and Mr.
We want to see these officers terminated. We want to see these officers terminated for their actions. They don't deserve to carry a shield anymore. They don't deserve to carry a gun anymore. When you act in that behavior, in that manner, okay, you just threw your job away. Because you did not take the proper protocol, nor did you follow your training guidelines. So when that happens, you need to lose your job.
Even the supervisor needs to be demoted.
Yes.
Particularly the supervisor.
Yes.
And if they're not terminated, because of we all in part of unions too. You know, unions come into play. It's pretty difficult to fire cops. I know that, you know, because of unions. So the bare minimum, if he can't be fired,
he should be disciplined.
He should be disciplined. Like, you know, NYPD, they got this thing, you know, 30 days no pay.
That's right.
Because at the end of the month, when you got to pay your mortgage, that's an attitude changer. That's a behavior changer.
Yes.
Baby, we can't pay the mortgage this month because you did what? You forcibly locked up Lanier?
Right.
So, you know, something needs to happen. It shouldn't just be a slap on the wrist, take them off patrol for a couple of days. No. Termination, if that can happen. If not, a suspension without pay. I think we'll all agree. You know, Ron has his lawyer. If you're going to do a civil suit, he's going to do that. But we're looking for some discipline for these officers.
Yeah, and a lack of supervision among the supervisor. The supervisor came to the scene, which is truly sad. Yep. I mean, you're talking about a supervisor who's supposed to be in control of the situation. He should have literally analyzed the area or analyze the situation, what was going on, and make the proper decision. The proper decision then was, as a supervisor, because the lack of supervision he gave, it ended like this, and it should have never got this far. It should have been a simple apology saying that we are sorry. I mean, we grabbed the wrong person, and you want to be humble about it. And the lack of supervision from the supervisor to the officers that was on the scene, he should have quickly disciplined them right then and there and told them that what they did was wrong, and they should apologize to him. And so not just the officers, the supervisors should be also disciplined too, also because of the lack he gave at that time. So it's more than just the officers, it's the supervisor, and then it tends to end to the culture of what this department is actually doing. See, keep this in mind. I mean, the culture of the police department is totally different from what others may think. It's a culture and an environment of its own that protects itself, regardless what goes on. So the issue is that it starts at the officer, but it goes to the supervisor. The commissioner himself or the chief, whoever's running this department, should be quickly saying to these individuals, along with the supervisor, "You're wrong. You need to be disciplined. Something needs to be done." And I'll be honest with you, that would at least started the ball rolling in the right direction.
That's right. And where's the transparency? That's all we looking for is transparency. Where's the videotape? I understand Western Beef got videotape.
Yes.
Where's the videotape?
Yes.
See, these police departments around the country got to figure out, this is kind of an easy fix for the black community. All we want you to do is tell us the truth. We know all the cops not bad, but the bad ones, you need to expose them. If you start exposing them, that would make us feel a lot better.
That's right.
And I'm not saying lock every cop up, or even in this case, they might not need to be locked up or fired, but show us that you're strokers. Do something.
Right.
Release the video. We got video. We're going to release this video right now of the officers. If they're not wrong, then, you know, we can view it and we can say it. Maybe Ron was wrong. I don't know, but let us see something. Show us something.
That's right.
Do something.
Here's exactly what's happening. Textbook. Now, I have no doubt that the names are going to be released because they can't hide it forever. Everybody knows what happened. They're identified by photograph. It's going to have to come out. But here's what the delay is. These officers right now are sitting down with their union.
That's right.
These officers right now are receiving legal counsel. They're being advised as to what to say and what not to say.
That's right.
Once they are identified. So they're going to come to the table prepped and secure in their story. And let me change it. In their rehearsed story.
Yes.
That's exactly what's happening. So when they speak, they're going to sound the same way. They're not going to deviate from their story, but you can't hide the truth.
That's right. All right, at this time we'll take any more questions. If we don't have any questions, again, we want to thank you for coming, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
All right,
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Excellent job. Congratulations.
We'll be back.
Corey, thank you. Thank you.
Love you, man. You ain't going nowhere. Good to see you again, there, boss.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.